Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another Monday Night Live. My name is Laura Betts. I am the Oxygen Lady, and it's great to see all of you again. If you're listening to this on the replay, again, thank you so much. And it's always great to share information with you. Tonight's topic this evening is It's All in Your Head. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy, complex cases, and overlooked root causes. And we see an awful lot of complex cases here. In many cases, our clients are coming to us and their words, we're their last hope. Their doctors have failed to address their symptoms. In some cases, they've been to 10, 15. I think the record is 22 doctors. We had a case come in, and ultimately the case ended up being undiagnosed, misdiagnosed Lyme disease. And once we started handling the Lyme with an appropriate personalized hyperbaric oxygen therapy dive plan and some supportive nutrition to help the body detox, heal, and repair. And they were able to make significant progress, but 22 physicians in the processes of it. So tonight, again, I'm going to talk a little bit about It's All in Your Head and some complex cases, and talk about, again, some overlooked root causes. We do lives every Monday at 6 o'clock. And by the way, this is a great opportunity to ask us questions real time in the chat. If you know somebody that is struggling with symptoms, if you know someone who's interested in hyperbaric oxygen therapy, if you've got some questions for yourself, and also, by the way, we do have another round of raffles coming up. And of course, you can get extra tickets for watching Facebook Lives. And we, of course, love sharing information here. So again, thank you so much for joining me. Again, I am the Oxygen Lady, and I am founder and facility director of Hyperbarics RX in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And my personal story of how hyperbaric oxygen therapy saved my life is one of the topics that I've done before, and it's listed under the video section. So check it out. We have a lot of great information there. And of course, again, tonight's topic on complex cases, I actually do sit on two different medical boards. I'm a longtime member of the Andy Diving and Hyperbaric Medical Board. I'm also a vice president of substance abuse programming and protocol integration for the International Hyperbaric Medical Foundation. So there are certain types of cases that through the grapevine come my way. We've worked with some really interesting things here, and I'm going to do a little bit of a deep dive into some of that and share some information with you. Last week, we did comfort considerations, hyperbaric linens and scrubs, and some really great information there. Answered a lot of the frequently asked questions we get, and a great tool for our fellow Andy hyperbaric facilities to share a little bit about some of the differences, and just don't assume. There really is a little bit more to this, and there are many sites that are operating with absolutely no training at all. They don't change linens. They use the same linens with multiple patients, and they don't disinfect the systems in between patients. And I know that sounds like kind of crazy. I think it's a little crazy as well, especially considering the procedures that we follow here. But it is not something to just be taken for granted. And it's another reason to choose an Andy certified hyperbaric facility. So again, Hyperbarics RX, we are an Andy certified hyperbaric facility. And that brings us some pretty big differences. So again, let me go ahead and jump in tonight's topic. Again, it's all in your head, complex cases. And, it's not common. Again, we get people that basically they have been to a whole bunch of different doctors. They've been to a whole bunch of different specialists. They've had a whole bunch of different tests run. And on paper, they look just fine. But when not feeling well, there are serious symptoms that are being normalized, and there's some challenges here. I mean, we feel awful. It's interfering in our day to day. We're not socializing. We're not living. We're just surviving. And it can be a very frustrating thing to go to a medical professional looking for help, only to be told nothing's wrong. Yeah, but I don't feel okay. And we hear this all the time. Now, one of the points that's kind of interesting is a medical professional, they won't diagnose something that they don't think is exists. There's also a problem with them not diagnosing something that doesn't have a corresponding, never-ending course of symptom management through pharmaceutical. So if there isn't a specific drug that's billable, if it's not a billable indication or a billable symptom, it is kind of interesting as to the level of care that comes along with it. So again, a doctor won't diagnose something that they don't think exists. And we, on the other hand, have a lot of experience with that. So a good example of something that a doctor won't diagnose that they don't think exists is mold exposure. Now, mold exposure is very real. It's very toxic. It can be deadly. It can cause all sorts of hormonal disruption. It can cause all sorts of difficulty in focusing, concentration. It can cause lesions, rashes on the skin. It can disrupt the body in so many different ways. And it's very complex because the fungal spores, the mycotoxins, they go everywhere in the body. Now, on the rare occasion that you can get somebody to acknowledge that it's possible that the person had mold exposure, they'll run a particular type of test, a common test for it. And the common test can come back completely normal. The test can come back and show no secretions. They're measuring to see if the body is dumping these mycotoxins into the wastes. But the person is absolutely poisoned with severe mitochondria damage from the level of mycotoxins contained in their body. And it's a very interesting thing. And I've done a handful of cases where the initial panels, the initial mycotoxins test came back perfect, said they didn't have exposure, even though there was no question that they had had serious exposure. So this is where some of the other tools that we use here work really well. And hyperbaric oxygen is a full body therapy. So these complex cases, these overlooked root causes, the oxygen is able to help the body detox, heal, and ultimately repair naturally. And again, it goes just about everywhere. It's non-invasive, very well tolerated, and we can personalize the protocol. Now, another good example is something that are very common in complex cases, a very common overlooked root cause is parasites. One of my mentors, Dr. Jay Davidson, and makes the comment all the time, if you have a pulse, you have parasites. And if you go outside, if you spend any time around people, any time around animals, if you eat food, if you go swimming in any kind of lake or river or the ocean or a swimming pool, if you eat sushi, parasites are very, very common, and they are one of the most common overlooked root causes in complex cases. And they're another great example of something that they won't diagnose something that they don't think exists in the first place. Very often, if you talk about parasites, oh no, this is America. People don't have parasites here. And that's really not accurate. Another piece that goes along with it is if you can get them to convince to run a parasite panel, just like the mycotoxin test, there's a very, very good chance it'll come back negative. And there are some limitations to the diagnostic. And on top of that, again, these guys are very adaptive. Often they're not going to show in the excretions, they're not going to show in the body's waste if there's nothing being done to try and get rid of them, if the body's still holding on to them, if they're still having a little party inside of our organs and tissues. So again, another very, very common overlooked root causes in complex cases. And if you're experiencing symptoms, these are not normal. There's a lot of things that I'm shocked at times how normalized things that just really aren't normal have become. If you're getting headaches all the time, that's not normal. And often it's a precursor to some more serious issues. If you've got all kinds of stuff going on with your skin, again, often a precursor to some more serious issues. Health is the body's ability to adapt. If a little bit of life stress happens and we're laid out and laying in bed for 3 and 4 days from the stress of it all, that's not normal either. There may be nutritional components that are missing. There may be an underlying traumatic brain injury. There's a whole bunch of different things that can be happening there. So, in these circumstances, it's really important to help to get to these root causes. And one of the things that's really, again, amazing about hyperbaric oxygen therapy is it does just that. It is a full body, non invasive therapy. It handles all organs and all systems of the body at the same time to some extent. Now, the best thing to do is a personalized dive plan where you're doing the hyperbaric at somewhat consistence of a frequency so you can get these cumulative effects over time and really take advantage of some of these regenerative mechanisms. But even a little hyperbaric can break a toxin pathogen cycle, and it can also restart idling mitochondria. So the body has some protective mechanisms where if the mitochondria doesn't have enough oxygen, oxygen's the primary ingredient in the cake. It's the primary ingredient in the mix that makes the fuel. And if there's a limitation on the oxygen, like from an inflammatory cycle, hyperbaric can be used to break that cycle. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy at clinical dosages. Another reason why it's really important to be working with an ANDI certified hyperbaric facility with ANDI certified chamber operators. The anti-inflammatory mechanism is really dosage dependent. And if we're trying to interrupt a disease progression, if we're trying to break a cycle of symptoms, if we're trying to halt a complex case and determine some underlying root causes, it's really important that we're doing this at a proper dosage, at a proper protocol. And that's one of the biggest differences of choosing an ANDI certified hyperbaric facility. And it's also one of the reasons why we get a lot of efficacy here. Right now, not every site treats the same. In fact, some sites aren't even using any oxygen, which is technically not a neutral. It's not a positive either. It's a slight negative, and depending on the profile, and if there are some pathogens present, especially anaerobes, it could be a significant negative. So it all gets lumped into the same category. A lot of sites don't personalized dive plans. And depending on what the goal is, everyone in the facility is treated at the same site. And if the goal, the mechanisms of action that that particular patient needs happens to overlap with the dosage, good for that patient. But what about the ones where it doesn't? So this is where many of the techniques here that we work with make a very, very big difference, and they really help to just improve patient outcomes. Hyperbarics RX, we are the first and only holistic hyperbaric center of its kind, and we're utilizing a combination of modalities, and ultimately it creates an opportunity in, excuse me, these are two words together, an optimal opportunity for efficacy, and it's free from negative side effects. So everything that we're doing here is only going to help. It's only going to improve. It's only going to bring down inflammation. It's only going to support the body's natural healing mechanisms. And again, they've really normalized things that are not normal. If you, for example, were to eat some food that was bad, and were to go ahead and throw up after eating that bad food, is there something wrong with your body? No, I would argue that your body's working quite well. And your body engaged a defense mechanism in order to get rid of the bacteria in the bad food. The body is doing this, it's having this extreme reaction to keep you safe. And the body can also heal itself. So if this regenerative cycle is not happening, if the body is out of balance, one of the main reasons why that happens is because there's a lack of oxygen. And nothing restores oxygen better than hyperbaric oxygen therapy. If you've tried everything, I don't think you've tried hyperbaric oxygen therapy paired with quantum mutation testing and state-of-the-art DNA analysis. Unless you've already worked with us here, you haven't done this. And it's really different. And we've got 20 years of clinical experience, and it's all based on my own personal journey. Everything that we do here, I know works because I'm alive because of it. And not only am I surviving, I'm thriving. And these are the tools here that we use every day to handle complex cases and address overlooked root causes. One of the other neat things about hyperbaric oxygen therapy is because the oxygen goes everywhere, even if there's something that we don't specifically know, right? The body knows, and it's creating the opportunity for healing and rebalancing. A lot of times, there's so much that's out of balance. There's so many organs that have gone out of balance as the person is searching for an answer, as the person is going to the doctors and going to the specialists and waiting for the test to come back. And meanwhile, they're getting slightly worse and worse and worse and more out of balance. So we can use the hyperbaric oxygen therapy paired with the other holistic modalities we work with here to halt this negative cascade and get some immediate symptom resolution. It's really an amazing thing. And again, we're the first to do that. So we offer discounted dive packages, wellness programs, and personalized dive plans. So depending on what your goals are, it's a personalized program. No two people have the same exact considerations, and that's the whole point. So we offer these personalized programs. They're designed to naturally support and rebalance your body. We use hyperbaric oxygen therapy, physician-grade whole food supplements. We use homeopathy, and we use some very special products using carbon technology. One of the interesting points about a lot of the supplements we work here, they are very special. They're physician grade, and we're coaching you in how to use them. A lot of people do really good things, but they don't necessarily do good things that are right for them. When they're doing things that are right for them, are they doing it in the right amount, for the right length of time, and most importantly, in the right order? You need some help here. You need a coach on that. So we're working with this in a very specific way. And if you've had some negative experiences, if you've taken supplements and had some bad reactions, this is a whole different thing. And this is the whole point of a personalized program. And one of, again, the big differences that we offer here. And again, we are an ANDI certified hyperbaric facility with HCOs and CHTs on staff. And whether you're looking to do a hyperbaric session, proactively rebalance your health for some anti-aging and biohacking, or if you are a complex case and you're frustrated and maybe you've given up, well, don't give up. You haven't done everything. We'd love to help you. We'd love for you to let us help you. So again, thank you so much for joining us. As I mentioned, we do Facebook Lives every Monday at 6 o'clock, and we have a whole series of videos that we have put together over the different topics, and some of them build on each other. So I encourage you to go back and check them out. So again, my name is Laura Betts. I'm founder and facility director of Hyperbaric RX, and I am the Oxygen Lady. So this brings our live to a close this evening. Again, thank you so much for joining me. And if you're listening to this on the replay, again, thank you so much for stopping by, and we look forward to seeing you at another live. So have a great time, everybody. Thank you again. Happy Monday. Take care. This has been the Oxygen Lady. Good night.